Good morning, everybody. A good Erev Shabbos, and we are going to explain a beautiful idea on the Parsha through the eyes of Bitachon Be'ez Hashem. This week is Shabbos HaGadol. Shabbos HaGadol commemorates for us the great Shabbos that existed before the Jewish people left Mitzrayim, when they were finally going to have the Geula, the redemption. And we know that one of the mitzvahs that HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded us in was the Korban Pesach, bringing the sacrifice, the Passover sacrifice. And what had to be done was they needed to bring this animal 4 days before the Shechita, before the ritual slaughtering, in order to make sure that there was no blemish on it at all. Now, where would they get sheep in order to be able to do this Korban, this sacrifice? So, Baruch Hashem, they were living in Mitzrayim at the time, and the Mitzrayim themselves, the Egyptians, one of their gods was the lamb, was the sheep. So they were all over the place. Their gods were walking around everywhere. So the Yidden, the Jews, they went out and they got these lambs. And they put a little leash around their neck, and they began walking them through the streets to bring them back to their home. And the Egyptians said to them, "Where are you going? What are you doing with our gods?" And they said, "This is your God? Well, our God, the Rabbi Shalom, the master of the universe, heavens and the earth, he commanded us that we need to take it and we need to bring it to our homes, and we need to make sure and guard it for the next 4 days that there's not a blemish there. And then we're going to shecht it, we're going to slaughter it, we're going to put the blood on the doorpost of our homes, and then we're going to sit and roast it. You'll smell the roasting of that meat all throughout Mitzrayim, and then we're going to sit down with our families for a delicious, tasty meal right before we leave Mitzrayim and head off into the wilderness." Now, of course, you can understand that the Mitzrayim were exceedingly angry at this moment, and they were really stupefied. How could the Jews do such a thing? And yet we see that not a single Mitzrayim, not a single Egyptian was able to touch the Jewish people and stop them, prevent them from doing what they were doing. Since that Klal Yisrael went with Emunah Shalema and an ultimate Bitachon in Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made like a force field for them that no one was able to bother them as they were embarking upon this life of mitzvahs to do for the Rebbeinu Shalom. We see an amazing thing over here. We've spoken about this distinction quite often over the several months that we've been learning Bitachon. There's two parts of our belief system in Hashem. Number one is Emunah, and the second one is Bitachon. Emunah is, like the Rambam writes, Ladas es Hashem, to get to know the Rebbeinu Shalom, to learn about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to see how He runs the world, to understand to the best of our abilities actions, and to put our Emunah, to put our faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Akol Diavad Rachmana L'Tavavi, that everything Hashem does for the good. Hashem is running the world. He doesn't make any mistakes. It's all under His omniscient hand and His power. That's Emunah. Emunah is where a Yid, a Jew, walks around with a belief that there is a master of the universe who's watching over me and cares about me and has been doing this for thousands of years already with all of my previous generations. That's Emunah. Bitachon, which we have been spending the focus of these shiurim on, Bitachon, which means to rely and trust in Hashem. Bitachon is what we would call in the world of Hashkafa, it is called living Emunah. It is called practicing Emunah. It is called allowing our Emunah to guide and to motivate our actions, where we are willing to take that step and show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that all of the well springs of Emunah that we have inside of ourselves, we're now Beiteach B'Hashem, we trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're willing to act upon the Emunah that we have. Klal Yisrael was being built up for about 10 months in Egypt with all of the makkahs, all the plagues, each and every one was instilling more and more and more Emunah into Klal Yisrael. It was opening their eyes to the fact that there's a creator of this world who has control of everything. And He's the mashgiach, He's watching over it all. There's hashgacha pratis, there's divine intervention, and there's providence that only HaKadosh Baruch Hu could do. And that was a build-up. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "I want you to do something. I want to see just how much you actually believe in me. I want to see where is your bitachon, where are you holding in the world of bitachon. So you go into the midst of the Egyptians, and you take their God, and you walk through the streets, and when they're going to ask you what you're doing, you don't be bashful. You tell them, we're taking the sheep, and we're going to shecht it, and we're going to sprinkle the blood, and we're going to roast it, and we're going to eat it, and we're going to enjoy it. And you show that the Emunah that you developed over the last 10 months or so in Mitzrayim is so real that you're willing to act upon that Emunah with the advent and rising yourself up to the level of Bitachon, of trusting and relying on Hashem. And that's in fact what Klal Yisrael did. Klal Yisrael brought themselves to a new madrega, to a new level which they had not yet exhibited in Mitzrayim. And that is, not only are we becoming a nation of ma'aminim, of those who believe in Hashem, the belief is so strong that we are willing and ready and able to act upon it with confidence and diligence and dedication. And therefore they did what they did with the gods of Mitzrayim, and they had no fear, and they were not concerned or worried at all. Rather, they brought it right into their homes. They tied it right to the bed, and they let the sheep there, and he's buying the whole time that the Egyptians hear what's going on. And they couldn't stop them. Why? Because Klal Yisrael, who are ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim, we are the children of believers. That Emunah, which we gained in Mitzrayim, brought us to a new madrega, and that is the level of Bitachon. And when a person has Bitachon, they are literally willing to do anything that is necessary to show their allegiance and their dedication and their Emunah in the Ribono Shel Olam. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.